The aim of this presentation is to detail the fundamentals of designing innovations for museums. The objectives of this presentation are to present the areas where you should start from in order to identify innovations, to describe a process to design innovations for museums. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to identify the areas of innovation for museums, identify the steps of a process to design innovations for museums. This presentation details the following. First, the areas for innovation in museums. As noted earlier, we have the product innovation, the process innovation, the organizational innovation, and the marketing innovation. Next, we shall speak about design thinking for museums, which is an innovation design process, and last, about the design sprint, a process used also by museums to design quickly new initiatives. As noted earlier, product innovation concerns a good or service that it is new or significantly improved. This includes significant improvements in technical specifications, components and materials, software in the product, user-friendliness or other functional characteristics. Product innovation in museums can be employed mostly in the processes they use to deliver experiences to the visitors. The Museum of the Future will share collections and will create connections with new audiences. It will deliver engaging experiences and blur the physical and digital dimensions. In this regard, new types of collections, innovative visiting scenarios, co-creation of experiences and personalized learning paths will be in the forefront. Typically, we see here sustaining or breakthrough innovations, especially in the areas of exhibitions. While the former build on existing resources taking advantage of modern presentation technologies, for example augmented reality, to deliver engaging exhibitions to the public, the latter may exploit innovative technologies and ideas to change completely how the visitor enjoys his or her visit to the museum. For example, to interact with 3D prehistoric animals through augmented reality. Typically, this is a must for science and technology museums and art museums. As stated earlier, process innovation can be defined as the new or significantly improved production or delivery method. This includes significant changes in techniques, equipment, and/or software. Here we present the main museum processes and procedures where somebody could try to improve or reinvent through innovations. These processes emerge from the study of ICOM on running museums. The procedures of collections management include mainly the registration, that includes policies and procedures of how collections enter the museum, preservation of collections, which includes the collection storage, the handling and moving of collections, and other, the public access to collections, the research of collections, which is a particular type of access to them, informing various interested parties. This process is divided into separated processes, including mainly inventories and documentation, and exhibitions. The inventories and documentation process, a sub-process of collections management, includes mainly the following procedures: acquisitions, loans and accessioning, which are methods to obtain objects and collections; deaccessioning and disposals in order to remove objects from the collections; inventory control and cataloging, which relates to the development and use of information about the separate collections objects; objects numbering, labeling and marking, that relates to the object with its documentation; location and movement control, so as to track the location of objects, especially due to the loans implemented; conservation information and condition reports in order to keep track of the conservation tasks; photos and videos of the museum objects; provision of access to the objects and collections through the web. Caring and preserving collections is separated into four main steps: identify risks, develop improvement options, plan improvements to reduce risks based on the options produced, and implement improvements. Concerning the presentation of resources to the visitors and interested stakeholders, we have the types of exhibitions, for example, permanent, temporary, core, complementary, short-term, medium-term, long-term, traveling exhibitions, joint exhibitions, and other. Interpretation of objects provided by the curators, the educators, and the designers. Exhibition management, plan, design, produce, related to the museum and the target audience. Exhibition systems including static and modular panels, display systems, etc. and materials. Evaluation of the exhibitions. Communication of the exhibitions and education. The provision of visitor services so as to attract and engage them includes mainly the following: the right to access the museum, the collections and objects, policies and strategies for visitor services, definition and understanding of the visitor, researching visitors taking advantage of big data analysis, types and needs of visitors, planning and managing visitor services, servicing visitors, which includes the appropriate staff engaged from all levels, the respective infrastructures and other. Concerning education, museums add special value to it for stakeholders of various groups, origins and knowledge disciplines. Procedures include the design, development, implementation and evaluation of education programs for various audiences, selection of resources and educational methods, museum education and the community, establishment of educational spaces inside the museum and to the web, publications, supporting informal learning. Museum management focuses to the different management functions and operations, including strategy definition and implementation, financial management, human resources, communications and marketing, and other. Of course, there are much more operations and processes depending on the particular nature and organization of each museum. Organizational innovation considers a new organizational method in business practices, workplace organization, or external relations. The revised Louvre's museum business model is an example of organizational innovation. Since 1980, the Louvre's museum has undergone serious development due to its audience, its collections, its budget and staff, and its cultural productions. Next, around the year 2000, it was reorganized again with changes identified in the areas of technology, competition, environment, customers, profitability, and architecture. Louvre adopted technologies enabling the digitization, the virtualization, the networking, and the creation of user-generated content, leading to improved experiences for the visitors. It also followed various competitors' initiatives like the organization of large-scale events, establishing new branches, and generating profit due to its museum design expertise. Louvre managed to increase its efficiency and accountability through the increased autonomy it enjoyed from the French government, as well as due to the strengthening of its management tools and monitoring and control processes. It also implemented marketing strategies focused to the customers through membership programs and tools identifying the customers' needs and preferences, offering them more products. Additionally, the museum improved its profitability due to the financial monitoring by the authorities, as well as various initiatives in the areas of promotion of its brand, the attraction of more and new visitors, and the increasing sales of tickets and byproducts. Moreover, the museum architecture was improved under the revised business model, employing new operations, acquisitions, and partnership for external projects. But the main empowering factor of the change was the cultural innovation, which was implemented horizontally. Regeneration of museum artworks, collections renewing, expertise in innovative exhibitions, establishment of new departments and positions, implementation of transversal projects and job roles, as well as new and engaging visitor experiences, are only some of the main initiatives. As the Louvre's president stated, Everyone at the Louvre who has participated in this project has opened paths to the most innovative ideas, imagining new forms of displaying and presenting art, inventing new ways to educate visitors in how to look at a piece of art. Marketing innovation. A new marketing method involving significant changes in product design or packaging, product placement, product promotion or pricing. Audience development and engagement is at the heart of every marketing innovation. Museums have to serve new audiences, including digital natives, elders, immigrants. Redefine the roles, focusing to visitors, becoming inclusive and operate as learning spaces. Deliver research results and employ new strategies for engaging visitors mainly through technologies. For example, immersive experiences, interaction, narration, and other. Modern technologies, and especially the social media, have decreased the financial barriers of accessing audiences, especially for the smaller museums. Marketing innovations may build upon all these channels so as to enable museums to reach new and different audiences. Moreover, these efforts could be supported by the local communities so as to gain value and succeed following a win-win approach. Additionally, the user-generated content can be exploited as a really engaging marketing tool, supporting related innovations that focus to the transformation of museum audiences to other roles like informal collection developers. Last but not least, analytics provided by the various media channels, as well as tools that can be used to interpret the mass data museums collect about its visitors, can produce rich insights on visitor needs and preferences, helping them to define the problem they, the museums, face and design and implement innovative solutions for them. Design thinking is a proven, repeatable process for problem solving, creativity and innovation. It is similar to human-centered design, consisting the modern approach for designing museums. Design thinking helps teams approach problems with the end user in mind. It involves developing empathy for museum visitors, discovering opportunities, generating user-centered solutions, and building and testing prototypes. Design thinkers are typically characterized by a particular mindset. Keywords here include the foresight, the inspiration, working through uncertainty, the implementation into practice, and the lack of fear to fail. Design thinking includes 5 steps. First, empathize, learning about the target audience needs so as to understand the problem. Second, define, analyze, interpret, and plan in order to define the problem. Third, ideate, brainstorming and developing creative solutions. Fourth, prototype, build a representation of ideas through sketching, rapid prototyping, and other. And 5, test innovative ideas with a target audience. The design sprint is a process to build and test a prototype in just 5 days, 1 week. It was invented at Google by Jake Knapp back in 2010. It combines tools and methods from design thinking, business strategy, and product innovation. Before the sprint, you have to identify the challenge, recruit the team, assure that their week will be free from duties that will intervene the process, and find a place to work away from the pressing things and daily work duties. On Monday, you conduct conversations with the aim to understand the problem, build the foundations and the focus of the innovation. You start with defining the key questions and goals. Next, you make a simple map of the innovation. This map is delivered to the experts of the team for discussion. Finally, you focus. On Tuesday, you try to solve the problem. Starting with an intense deep thinking and discussion, the team members try to review existing ideas and identify how to improve them. Then they separately sketch their solutions in a 4-step approach, which starts with taking notes, then writing down and selecting ideas, followed by a short exercise on sketching alternatives of the best idea, and finally sketching analytically the idea. Wednesday is the day of selection. Following a particular procedure, you and your team will select among the best ideas the one that will be transformed into a storyboard, which is a plan for your prototype. On Thursday, you shall build a prototype based on the storyboard so you can simulate it on Friday with your customers. Friday is the testing day. You present the prototype to 5 customers in a one-to-one interviews, obtaining quick and dirty answers. The design sprint is used also by museums. For example, the British Museum is experimenting with design sprints in their product development group. Key lessons learned include: first, the need for careful problem selection, as many times the team may be lured by its personal opinions. Second, start small and proceed gradually, for example with a small team. Third, use the sprint to evangelize what you do and present it to the rest of the museum departments. Fourth, make your sprint visible, allowing other stakeholders to provide comments. And fifth, build on fault ideas. This presentation was about innovations in museums and innovation design processes. Now that you've finished watching it, you should be able to define areas of innovation in museums, identify the steps of an innovation design process. Thank you.